Hey, look, you mind not breathing all over me, man? I'm trying to work here.
Okay, so now go to www.com.
Kid never heard of mouthwash. Is this the website?
No, you typed it wrong. There are two S's.
Hey now, don't look at this. This isn't for children to see. What's this little? Stupid computer froze up. Hang on, I'll reboot. This is probably gonna take a
It was
minute.
the best of times. It was the worst of times. You stupid monkey.
You are a fucking hillbilly! You are a hillbilly! I am a god to the penthouse! You are a fucking hillbilly! You live on a farm!
That's the opposite of what I was saying. That's the good right.
Now you wanna get nuts! Come on!
Yeah! Oh! Come on! Ah! Stretch. Stretch the vocal cords. Give me just a little stretch. Just a raspy yell, if you can.
Yeah!
It's good. It's a good,
Tried, I don't yell much.
we're gonna stop that bit right there because I don't like the direction it's going. It's gonna be disgusting if we keep trying this.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of the Soccer Moms podcast. I don't know, maybe Soccer Mom's house. I don't know. We'll keep going. Names will evolve. Today, I want to say it's a very special episode because we have a guest on today. We have my sister Grace, our resident Zoomer. She is going to be inputting anything from the youth culture. You know,
Yes,
I'm always
yes.
been, kind of detached.
They
but-
call me Grape here, as the Zoomers do, and yeah, I'm hip, I'm jive.
She's all
I
about.
can't name a celebrity earlier than 2005 though, so I don't know any of the culture before then. I only know Twitter and TikTok.
She's a real Grimes, enthusiast. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
feels right.
Oh, I also
Holiday revolution is here.
Did you hear about that holiday revolution that is
Holiday
here?
revolution, yeah.
The ads keep playing. I've got a million tabs open right now, folks. I got a ton of stories that we want to look at today, and right now the ads are popping up on the computer and popping in because I'm trying to do
illegal. Ads should be illegal.
fucking ads. YouTube's getting ballsy now with the whole 2 ads in between. I don't know. I complain about that crap.
They trained us. They did 3-second ads, and now they're all 15 seconds. And they're at 30 seconds, and they're gonna get longer and longer.
I know. I keep complaining about them too, but I mean, if I ever want to monetize this,
Oh, but yeah, if it were
reach out to me, advertisers,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, I know.
I'll throw a couple videos
That's
about
a different case. I would
prolax
stop
or whatever.
complaining.
Yeah, today a couple different stories we wanted to talk about. One, I got to do a mission update. SpaceX. I remember talking about them last week. The crew was just arrived. It was their picking the crew and everything. I didn't do much research on the first round, but today I got a little bit more of a polished turd for you. SpaceX actually launched this weekend, and we'll go into the workings in that and how everything turned out. So far, they're on a trip right now. 27 hours on their way to the space station. So we'll keep in touch on that. A couple other stories too. I wanted to focus this week on Spinosaurus. Okay, I want to do a dino segment. I love dinosaurs, and there's a low number of podcasts that involve actual paleographic finds or anything that changes. Because, I mean, this year has been a massive year for the discovery of Spinosaurus and revolutionized the way that we picture this dinosaur. It's huge in the scientific community, and it's just under documented by a lot of people. It's not advertised in public as much as dinosaurs were. I feel like dinosaurs were huge like in the 90s, but nowadays it's not as big a picture with children. Like they're not as into it. Yeah, and I mean that's where our Zoomer comes in here. She can
kids
tell
are
us.
not fed the same dinosaur propaganda that they were. We really should be feeding our kids that same like wear the t-shirts that just have skeletons of dinosaurs on them. You don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
They want to let us forget about our past, but we are not the true rulers of this planet.
Do you remember, like, we used to have the glow-in-the-dark dinosaur sweatshirt?
Absolutely.
That it was a T-Rex by day, but then you turn it off.
That was a hand-me-down for all of our,
I had
our
it.
little brother.
Grace had it. Josh
all
had
of us
it.
kids.
I love that, and I mean, puzzles. All my puzzles were dinosaurs too.
Yeah,
They
dinosaur
had-
video games.
Yeah.
This is our first introduction to video games with the dinosaur.
Okay. I'm getting tired of these ads. I'll do it once I finish some introduction stuff. I'll get through it. We'll get through the ads.
Yeah, well, we'll get all of
We're
it.
gonna get through this together.
So, after Spinosaurus, what's going on next?
I did want to talk about Grace being here. She says she's been doing a lot of research into small mammals and a lot
Absolutely.
of, critters. And I feel like it's good for the nature podcast because if we're talking about dinosaurs, you got to talk about the people that succeeded them, the small mammalians. What was the name of your What was the name of your segment you wanted to start?
Well, we'd like to call it Squirrel Cage.
Squirrel
here
Cage.
on the podcast, and we'll feature rats, cats, and bats.
It'll be a lot of fun because there's so much in the small mammal world. It's a different world. It's a different point of view. Rats see things from a different perspective.
They're on the ground. Their immune systems develop differently.
Yeah, it's insightful things like that we'll find from our resident Zoomer. And Grape also is willing to join us on our improv journey, where I love to go to UPI and just click tabs, look at interesting stories and see what's on, and we'll finish out the rest of the episode doing stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for listening, and let's get into the show. You do some more ASMR. Let's get into the show. Let's get into the show. It's time to start.
Trust me, on this island there is no such thing as safe. We have to get back on that plane. Will you tell your wife to stop making that noise? That is a very, very bad idea.
Amanda?
Ben?
Amanda, honey, Dr. Grant said that's a bad idea.
What?
He says it's a bad idea.
What's a bad idea?
I mean, what are you doing here?
Is it Tyrannosaurus? I don't think so. This sounds bigger.
This is a Dino Defender alert.
Why is it looking at me like that?
What's that looking at?
I was like, chasing me, Mike! No! He's chasing me! Okay, I'm gonna get out! Stop behind us! The tanks are real! We're saving Oh my God!
Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before. Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
So there's this frog. He's called Beelzebufo, and he lives. Well, he used to live. He was an ancient frog that they found in northern Madagascar, and it's just really weird, man. I'll have to tell you more about it later. Right now, I want to talk about Spinosaurus. Get back on our dino path, on the trail.
Yeah.
That's another quote, another soundbite I want to get from that old JP3 game is the Call of the Wild.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's so many just like, that bridge was the worst.
Nostalgia.
Oh, and the mosquitoes.
Yes.
You gotta have
so
that bug
scary.
spray.
They'll kill you.
Yeah, look out! That guy who narrated that game had the best
he was awesome.
voice. Mm-hmm. And do you remember some of the characters that they had?
Farrah Fossil.
Oh
yeah.
One guy's name was just Stomp.
Dr. Stego.
Stomp. Dr. Stego. Or Rick Raptor. And what just Stomp always cracked me up. He looked like he was a Morpheus looking dude. Orpheus looking dude from the Matrix. He had this bald head, he had these huge glasses, and he's just Stomp.
Big old scientist.
Well, speaking of scientists, again, this has been an amazing year for Spinosaurus aegypticus, a very rare fossil. Did you know that there's only 6 individual skeletons of Spinosaurus that have ever been found in the last 100 years, since they first started documenting?
Crazy.
They found the first remains back in like I think it was 1913, 1915, and they were lost during World War II. There was a bombing raid in Munich.
Munich?
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 What is it?
Is that Germany?
Munich. It's in Germany, yeah. And they were in a museum. They were being held there, and one of the curators was a Nazi. While the man who found Spinosaurus, let me look at his name.
Is he a Nazi?
Ernst Stromer. Ernst Stromer was not a Nazi. He was one trying to get the Spinosaurus skeleton with all the other fossils that were there moved because he knew there was a raid from the Allies coming.
Puzzle.
Yeah, and
Moving all the puzzle pieces.
that was the most completed skeleton that was ever found. Was that Spinosaurus back in 1944? It was destroyed. 1915. So they had 30 years to study it, and even then they didn't know. They had that. It was the incorrect posture when they first set it up. So it was standing at like that angle where its tail drags on the ground, and its head was a completely different shape. It was related more closely to theropods than it is now.
Well, nowadays, don't they make like plaster molds of the bones so in case they get lost or something, they can still have them? I bet they didn't do that.
It was first dinosaur skeletons weren't described until,
they're probably like, I don't really know what this is.
Yeah.
It's history, I guess.
They're just like these a bunch of elephant bones. Because, it was found in Morocco. It was in, where was the first one? Paleontologist Ernst Stromer found some of the animal's bones 1915.
Wow.
Yeah, but in April 1944, the entire collection, his entire dinosaur collection, including Spinosaurus aegypticus, was destroyed during a bombing run.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. None were as complete as the skeleton other fragments had been found, but none were as complete as they found a skeleton in 2008. Now, in 2008 was when we started getting the more...
That's almost 100 years later.
Yeah, it's serious. And Ibram is the new paleontologist. What was his name? Nazar Ibrahim is his name. Nazar Ibram.
Cool.
He's the guy that's been doing this research since 2008. It's been over a decade, over 2 decades that he's been working on this. And he's the one that has been announcing these discoveries. And this year was when he found the most amazing discovery about the Spinosaurus's tail. Now, first off, I want to give you a little bit more history about finding these dinosaur fossils, finding out where they were, and again, the tail of Spinosaurus is something that you can only write, like in movies or something. It's insane. There's luck, and there's amazing, like all these fossil hunters that bring in giant fossils in pizza boxes for paleontologists to examine because it's, they're gathered out of context. They can't really disclose it without getting arrested by the government.
We need a new Indiana Jones to inspire people our age, my age, to do stuff like this, to go and find pizza boxes of bones.
They're going to have an Indiana Jones reboot, and it's going to be a female Indiana Jones. It's going to be this... they're going to do it. And maybe it's what we need, though. Maybe they need something to refresh that enthusiasm in paleontology. Colleagues, this is back in April 2008 right now. This is where we're at for our timeline. Ibram and his colleagues were returning from field work in the Kem beds of Morocco. That's great. It's fun to say. Kem
beds.
You say the Kem beds?
The Kem beds.
And we're singing in the Kem beds, dancing for dinosaurs in the Kem beds. It's time to sing in I
found a bone.
Found a bone.
I found a bone.
Or just do a little
found a bone.
Found a bone.
Kem beds found a bone.
Yeah, that's a good folk tale. That's what all the diggers are singing out there. Oh, we can't get into that. That's dangerous territory. That's cringe, man. That's so cringe. One bone caught Ibrahim's eye. He was at one of these fossil explorations where all the fossil diggers bring up their collection of bones and fragments that they found, and they have them in these giant pizza boxes looking things. Like they're just literal cardboard boxes.
Just a box of bones.
Yeah.
No big deal.
They present them for paleontologists to find, and then take to curate, to study, and put together into the skeletons.
It's so confusing.
One bone caught Ibram's eye. It was long and blade-shaped, perhaps a rib, but with an odd red line cutting through its cross-section. That red line is something that we find a lot with dead Spinosaurus, because a lot of times their bones are partially submerged. The remains are partially submerged, and that red line is calcification of the water.
It's the water level?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
As it was
So it was like half in water, half out of water.
as the sediment built over it. Yeah.
When it's dead. Wow.
He says, I thought maybe it was. Oh, he's got a German accent because he's It's hard to. I don't know if I could do.
Schnitzel.
I can't do a German accent. Hans Hamburger Schnitzel. Yoda. No, that's more. That's
Spinosaurus.
The Spinosaurus. I love the way he says that. Yeah. Abraham told reporters during a teleconference he arranged to have the bones kept in his university collection in Casablanca, because this all takes place in Morocco, is where they find the people that hunt the fossils, and a lot of Spinosaurus remains are found outside of Morocco in the Chemchems and all that. He noticed the same pattern, that red line pattern on the Spinosaurus blade that was the same as the one that he noticed from the fossil hunters. So he was like, holy crap, we got to go back. We got to find out where that was and find out where he dug that up so we can find more Spinosaurus pieces, you know? It just, that point is 2008, where there's still only 6 fragmented Spinosaurus skeletons that were found. Or 5 at that point, actually. The 6th one is what they find, and then they spend, 2.5 years. But he called this Mission Impossible because he didn't get any information from the fossil hunter. They do all this discreetly because of the apparently digging laws and Egyptian rules, and I don't really know.
It's probably illegal just to sell a dinosaur fossil. I don't know.
Exactly.
It seems bad.
I'm not a curator or anything. I don't know anything about curiosities like that.
The fossil black market.
Yeah, it is. It's literally the fossil black market.
I got a pizza box for you. It's got some bones in it.
It's a little extra crunchy.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, so he had to go back and find this guy. The only thing he knew about this guy was that he had a mustache. Ibram always likes to point that out in his stories. He's always saying, the only thing I knew about this guy is that he had a mustache.
My dreams. We'd see it everywhere. But it was never him.
I like to picture that the guy he had was like the Monopoly man.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like
the most distinct mustache you can think of.
Exactly.
The little curly ends and the big bushy middle.
Or counterpoint, what if it wasn't even that good a mustache? What if it was
What if it was a creepy pedo mustache? What if it was Hitler?
What if it was a Hitler and he's not hiding out in Argentina like everyone thinks? He's hiding out in Morocco selling fossils.
No.
And that's the mustache. Like, he's like, I know I recognized him from somewhere. He's that guy with that mustache.
The guy with the mustache.
Still, he and his colleagues returned to the village and asked around, trying to find out where that fossil hunter went, and they couldn't find him again. They couldn't get any information. Near the end of the failed mission, Abraham sat in a cafe drinking his mint tea. He likes mint tea.
That's good tea. That's my favorite tea as well. Yeah, surprising to hear that.
And envisioning his dreams of Spinosaurus, all those discoveries he was going to make. He's just feeling real low. He's like, God,
tea's a good tea for
I spent so much money on all of this
longing
expedition and I found nothing but dirt. He's literally sitting there, and the guy with the mustache walks by his table. He gets right up and finds him, and then they send him. He points him in the right direction.
I remember.
He spills his tea, flips the table over. It's like, what are you doing here? He gets all dramatic. He's like, I've been looking for you my whole life.
I've been dreaming of you.
Yeah, and that's how he went and found more Spinosaurus skeletons. And that's back in 2008, where we led to the discovery that Spinosaurus had more stubbier legs and was not so much the tall theropod that we think. He's still a long theropod and very closely related to a Tyrannosaurus and all of them, but his legs are kind of diverging to more crocodilian in style.
Horizontal.
Yeah.
Instead of vertical. They were like, what if? And turn the angle down.
Exactly. He's starting to look more like a crocodile at this point. He still has the rounded spine, and he still has a long whip-like tail, but he's also semi-aquatic, is what they say, because the ways the bones on the feet were actually predicted or presented, it made it look like a Spinosaurus had webbed feet, kind of like a duck. Like, it's really interesting the way
dope.
it's set up.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes like this chimera of like half duck, half crocodile-looking thing. The research team that, and I mean, after they found the mustache guy, Abraham took a research team out there and they dug up more bones. They dug up more fragments. And that's where I'm talking about the legs. The research team combined the new bones with Stromer's drawings and other Spinosaurus bones from half a dozen museums worldwide to create a digital model of the animal's new skeleton. Evidence from the skeleton pointed to a watery lifestyle. The interlocking crocodile-like teeth, ideal for catching swimming prey. So it's like conical teeth, and it's really good for fishing. Really easy for prey that are swimming, so you can grip into them instead of the slicing teeth like other theropods have. The nostrils were another interesting thing too that they found out about the skull. The nostrils were high on the head and near the middle of his giant ridged mouth, so it's perfect for popping up like an alligator, getting your breath
of air
and getting back down, kind of like a whale does too.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Like a dolphin.
And the flat paddle-like feet was another new discovery. Like I said, the webbed feet, the paddle-like feet. They say that because these are huge, giant bony paddles on the bottom of their freaking feet. It's amazing. Wow. The dinosaur even had a network of holes and channels through its bones.
Whoa.
They're called foramania or something. But it's like, you know how sharks kind of have that electrical... I can't even think of the name right now. I'll have to look it up. That line, it's not a ley line, because ley line is, magic. That's video
games.
No, it's a ridge line that helps them detect like motions in the water and stuff. And crocodiles have it too. The foramina.
So they're sensitive to vibration.
Yeah, it's like an extra kind of nervous system that helps them detect vibrations in the water.
So cool.
And Spinosaurus, these new fossils, they had done more research on them and found these foramina, evidence of foramina. So it's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. Another thing about Spinosaurus is him in 2008 and 2014 was when he was making these discoveries, talking about that skeleton. But it wasn't until 2018 where he made some new discoveries regarding Spinosaurus' tail. Now, the tail, again, is something that they didn't have any complete structures of. It was fragments here and there, and they assumed it was kind of long and heavy, like a
T-Rex.
Your typical theropod, This new discovery in 2018 was amazing, and they finally confirmed it this year. Spinosaurus had a paddle-like tail. They had these dorsal vertebrae, just like its regular dorsal fin, like it's got that spine, that no-work spine, that iconic at this point.
Totally.
The tail has a ridge that runs all the way along its tail, and it becomes this flat paddle. So you've got a tail that looks like a giant flagella swimming through. It's perfect.
It's like a snake.
Yeah, it's evolved so that it can swim underwater perpetually.
Mm-hmm. It's like a giant motor, like a boat.
Exactly.
Swimming around. Fossil bonanza.
with the skeleton in 2018. The dig started brutally. To clear tons of sandstone, the crew brought the region's only working...
Aww.
One jackhammer.
The only working jackhammer. That's sad.
It broke within minutes.
No.
Days were so grueling that several team members were hospitalized.
What?
Once they returned home.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. The promise of discovery kept them going. Along with Nutella breaks that temporarily took their minds off the punishing work.
What is this?
Yeah.
What is this dig site?
That's digging for fossils there, son. That's it.
Get your Nutella.
Finally, they started finding one of the caudal vertebrae. And another. And then another. And then it just kept going. They found one. They were like, oh, maybe this is near the base of the tail where the spine is. They were right. And then they found another one. They're like, oh, it keeps going. The caudal vertebrae run all the way along its tail, all the way to the tip. It was amazing. This is something that they had never seen. And there's really nothing to compare it to these days. There is no animal. I mean, you can say a crocodile, but even then, crocodile doesn't have features like that on its tail. Its tail is completely different.
Yeah.
By the end of this dig, by the end of 2018, they started in April. You know, they spent about 8 or 9 months studying these fossils and collecting them. They found more than 30 Spinosaurus tail vertebrae.
Wow.
30 of them. And I mean, keep in mind, Spinosaurus is the largest theropod. It is larger than a T-Rex. It's about 55 feet long. T-Rex is only about 40. So it's a long tail, 30 vertebrae. That's huge. With the creature's tail, and that's the thing too, is we finally have a complete tail of a Spinosaurus. Something that none of the other previous skeletons have had before, and we can use all that data from the other skeletons to combine it into a clearer picture.
Idea, yeah.
Yeah, so we can get a better idea what a Spinosaurus looked like.
How well does it do as a motor?
George Lauder, I think it is. He's from Harvard's Museum of Corporative Zoology, a person that studies kind of these fossils like this, and, well, not so much fossils, just like evolution in general, like seeing how creatures are evolved to survive in their environments, and runs tests using equipment and typical robotic stuff like say albatross, and why it has wingspans, and like checking the air resistance on its feathers,
lift to drag ratio.
Exactly, all the science behind that. They made a laser cut replica of Spinosaurus's tail to see if it was even efficient in water, if it caused drag, or if it would make swimming more difficult.
Does it work?
Yeah. Nearly 6 months after they began testing it, Ibrahim went into Lauder's laboratory, and he likes to describe it as the flapper. It is a little robotic arm that would have a cut segment of the shape of a tail of any kind of variety or species or whatever you're testing. It would lower it into a giant, like a water tank with a stream running through it, and they would test the resistance in the air, and they would test how much force you can get behind it. Yeah.
Pattern.
Studded with lights, cameras, and sensors, the ensemble can precisely track the aquatic movements of a swimming animal or a swimming robot. I like that they put it there, the submersible.
Swimming robots.
And the forces that they impart as they move. It's pretty fascinating stuff. Yeah. The conclusion, I mean, honestly, it sets Spinosaurus apart. Again, this fascinating creature with its high ridge, its very strange snout, you know, and its bones are even double walled, much like a seal or a penguin, so they can control their buoyancy in water. Like, it's even more apparent that these Spinosaurs are aquatic. They're built for it. They are built for living in the water. In future experiments, you know, Pearson. This is kind of cool too. Is in future experiments, Pearson Lauder want to do more research with the full skeleton of a Spinosaurus. Like, right now they're using reconstructions with the tail, but if they can actually laser cut a diagram with the sail and everything.
Oh, the total physics of it, how it moves.
Yeah, getting its mobility down is what's really fascinating. And
dynamics of a Spinosaurus.
Yeah! Achieve the dream, though. Abraham wants to incorporate every last scrap of bone he can, and he's got a ton of scraps of bone, so they're still compiling data right now.
Yeah, it
Which
takes
is
forever.
Any fossils the team finds, Abraham also wants to keep in Morocco. He says it's crucial because he wants to build a museum there that's specific for Spinosaurs and other dinosaurs found in the region. Totally. Because when you're transporting it, stuff like that, that's how it gets lost, that's how it gets damaged. And I mean, like you said, plaster molds are very common, and we use those for a lot of our displays. But even then, you can still...
it's also part of their history there in that country.
Exactly. And this is a quote from Abraham. What I want to do is build a home for Spinosaurus. This is going to become a symbol, an icon for African paleontology.
Totally.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff, man. I just wanted to include that in there because I love dinosaurs. I want to start doing dinosaur segments.
Spinosaurus is a dope dinosaur. We all know it.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me that science like that can change so quickly. You know, that's what I love about paleontology is it's always changing. You're discovering new fossils, new dinosaurs, and new prehistoric animals, anything.
And you don't have any proof to be like, oh, this is 100% what it looks like. It's always going to be a puzzle. It's always going to be a mystery, somewhat.
Yeah. One Sprite cranberry. How does it go?
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that how it works?
One Sprite cranberry.
I don't think I've seen this commercial.
It's the most wonderful time of the One Sprite cranberry.
When Jack just comes in, is he like the Kool-Aid man or something? Just breaks down a wall.
Oh yeah.
One Sprite cranberry.
And you can only get Sprite cranberry once they start playing that commercial.
Oh,
yeah,
jeez.
it's a limited edition. So, who is ready to enter the squirrel cage?
Okay, let's say you have a rat, and it's stuck in the glue trap. You're gonna want to bash that rat to put it out of its misery as soon as you can. Squirrel! I want to see the squirrel! Easy to kill, easy to use!
Now you pick the who's.
The moose?
The who's! The
Now
who's!
that's interesting!
Turn off the noodle!
Noodles? What noodles?
The noodle at the end of the who's!
Yeah!
Oh, it's a little baby girl squirrel!
Oh, look at his big bushy tail! It's so cute! It's all... Woo! That's a dead rat!
I'm a nocturnal placental flying member of the family of Pterodidæ, or Pterodidna. You can't tell, I'm a bat!
Okay, let's talk about rodents.
It's the squirrel cage.
It's the squirrel cage. Zimmer Grape, here I am. So, I live in a shitty apartment, as most people our age do, because we're all poor. And I get rats. We get, well, not real, like, big rats. We technically mice, very tiny mice. And recently, and our landlords don't do anything about it.
I didn't like the way that rat was looking at me the one time I was over there. He was eyeballing me pretty funky, man.
Yeah, no, it's not good. But usually they're like just in the air vents, you know. We don't have to deal with them. They don't come inside the real house. They're just in the walls, you know. You just hear the scurrying, and it's fine. yeah, they get the little. But caught one with one of our traps about it was October 31st, Halloween night, and I was up all night chasing this rat around trying to get him caught in traps. Finally got him caught.
I'm sorry. I love picturing you running around with like a net.
Oh, I had a hammer. I was ready to smash. But luckily it didn't come to that. He got caught in a trap and it was done. He was done for right away. It was a quick death. Don't worry about it. That's one way to catch a mouse.
Blood all over it. Sam says I was screaming so high. I was just
Yeah. See, my boyfriend who I live with hates mice and will jump on tables when he sees a mouse in the house. So I'm in charge of the mice.
You're in charge of mouse
I'm in
disposal.
charge of the mouse. I'm in charge of rat and mouse and bat and cat handling in this house. Yeah, but this mouse, the disturbing thing was I saw him crawl inside of the oven. Like not inside the oven.
Well, mouse
mechanism.
depression is a real thing these days, especially during mouse COVID.
Well, no, Sylvia Plath mouse. he was living underneath the oven. I could see because of the looking underneath with the flashlight. You can kind of see the trails that they make against the walls.
You could see the mouse airstream.
Yeah, you could see the droppings and the leavings behind.
The droppings
of the
and
mouse.
The mouse leavings. I like the way you said it. The droppings. Trying to make it sound all official.
The droppings.
We found more of the droppings, like you're a specialist on CSI or something.
So I thought that was the only mouse. Thought that he had just gotten in through the fall weather, wanting to find a warm place for winter. I was like, okay, because I haven't seen mouse evidence in a while. But
droppings.
A couple weeks after that, I'm getting the vibe that there's another mouse in here, and that was not the only one. So I set out a couple more traps, and that night I catch two. And one's a mama, and another one's the baby.
Oh, no.
I start catching the baby mice.
No. Did the baby mouse have like a little beanie on or something?
Oh no, they're just half the size of the big ones, you know. And I've caught a whole family of mice. That's and they're gonna haunt me forever now in this house. But
Killed generations.
The trick is when you're setting a trap, don't use cheese. Obviously, like that's a myth. It's on TV. That's not real life. But use peanut butter, and don't just put it on the top part of the trap because they will lick it off. They won't actually set the trap to trigger. You got to put the peanut butter underneath the metal baiter thing. You got to put it on both sides all the way around. You can even actually use a Tootsie Roll. You can use a Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll?
Yeah, you can use a Tootsie Roll, heat it up so it's gummy, and then wrap it around. So the mice will try to drag it off, and they can't get it off because it'll harden once it cools.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some tricky. That's like Maze Meister shit right there. That's
And mice are really dumb, so there's you don't gotta trick them a whole lot. But if you got a rat problem, rats are smarter.
Just playing like a shell game. You got a
you
little cup
really
of Nutella and Tootsie Roll, and the mice are like,
dumb. They're cannibals. They'll eat if there's a dead corpse out for too long. They'll start eating it.
Ooh.
They will drag it back to their nest. They're disgusting, vile creatures, and I wage war with every mouse in houses ever.
The mouse in the house.
Mouse in the house. Ain't gonna.
Squeak. Do you hear that mouse that just ran by? He farted really bad.
Yeah, that's the mice part of this segment.
The rats, bats, and cats.
The rats, bats, and cats in the squirrel cage.
Yeah.
I'd like to move on to bats because we do get bats in our apartment a lot.
Bats are cool, man.
Bats are cool.
I always thought they looked neat, and they're just that flying mammal design that they have with their fingers. Really,
they're
creepy.
iconic too in metal music and everything. You know, Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a bat.
We all remember that day.
Absolutely, it's just iconic. But more about Ozzy for a second. They actually, I read this thing recently. It happened
Are you
a while
talking
ago.
about the genetics thing?
But yes, it's genetics. They did like a genetic test on him to see what types of genes he had because he's been, on hard drugs for a really long time in his life. And
he's got that Parkinson's
still
right now
alive.
too.
Well,
he's dealing with that.
Yes, they actually found something in his DNA about the way he processes dopamine, and he actually has traces of Neanderthal DNA. And they think that that's like why he has survived so many years, but also why he has developed Parkinson's. It's something about how he processes dopamine, and they're still studying it. But basically, he just built different. He has a party.
One might say he's a god.
Yes.
A metal god.
A metal god.
I'm gonna play some Ozzy here. I have to play some Ozzy here somewhere.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's silence. Something like that. I like that bit.
Yeah. But if you want to keep bats out of your life, what
to
you
avoid
really
the bats.
need to do is make sure that all the cracks between your walls and the floor, walls and the ceiling, wall to wall, any sort of crevices in the house where a bat could crawl into or crawl out of, you need to cover. You need to seal it. Seal it with either foam or caulk. And I'm not talking about that kind of caulk. Grow up.
Throw a laugh track in there. It's like just like those work build videos they have on YouTube where the guy's like sanding down a table and he's like, now you want to reach for your cock, and everyone just starts laughing.
Stuff your cock
It's
in
not
it.
funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny, kids. Grow up.
This is about bats.
This is. We're trying to help you here. We're trying to be
Laughing
productive.
at me. But stuff it with caulk, and then caulk, and it'll keep the bats out. Bats hate caulk.
Oh, come on now. You're done with it. We're finished with that bit. We still.
But the evidence of this, I have anecdotal evidence. The bats. I've had 2 bats in my apartment now, and recently, after the second one, I went through, stuffed caulk in all the cracks, and I actually heard a bat crawling around in the walls, unable to enter the apartment, just in the walls.
Oh no.
So, I don't know what happened to him. I'm sorry, little fella. I like bats. I don't want him
He's
to
gonna
die.
suffocate. He's gonna die.
Wherever he got in, that's where he's gonna have to go out. And
He's
it's not
gonna
inside
smell.
my house. I've not noticed a smell, and it's been months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's my advice to you. If you got a bat problem or a rat problem, traps and caulk is your solution.
It's caulk. Macaulay Culk. It's the caulk gun.
It is pronounced cock,
Yeah.
but spelled caulk.
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 You got to reach for your caulk.
Silicon.
Guess nobody told you about the love. And I tried to help you make it through. You were left to your own devices. One too many compromises for you. Penny for your thoughts, nickel for your soul. Life ain't what it was when you had control.
Oh my god!
Just blood curdling.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
That's amazing!
his tail's a sensor.
With over 60 different types of sounds. Oh my gosh. So everybody, this is very interesting.
Huh.
We're going to UPI now. So this is my favorite segment. This is what we do on the first one, and it's just free form, free flowing, you know? This is the freestyle.
Grooving, jiving, beating, hopping, flowing.
Did you say chiving? Like
Jiving.
chives on a potato? Like
That'd work.
no, or we go to UPI and I look at the weird news that's on there, and just we go down after reading the article to the read more, and out of the 3 that they suggest for us, we'll pick one and just continue the stories. And right now, this one kind of caught my eye this morning. Robot wolves protect Japanese towns from bears. Those sounds you heard are from a little loudspeaker set up on this this robotic.
Horrifying robot.
Did it look scary? It was.
It has it looks like an actual wolf pelt on it.
Oh man!
And it has the same mask as the horror
Creep.
wolf down by
The
my
yeah.
apartment that
Peach
they
Fuzz.
use. Yeah, that they use as the wicked wolf.
Officials in that name there, Taikawa, Takikawa. Yeah,
Tekikawa.
Look at Tekikawa on the island Hokkaido said concern about an increase in bear incursions into residential neighborhoods this year has led to them purchasing 2 monster wolves.
Oh my gosh, that just seems like a bad idea. Like, we have bear problems, so we have brought in these robotic wolves to solve the problem. Oh no, the robotic wolves are multiplying.
I mean, robots are already terrifying, and I mean, Japan's known for all the AI.
Oh yeah, cutting edge
development.
technology. Yeah.
These robotic guard canines, created by a machinery firm in Hotaseke.
Nice.
Nice
try.
In partnership with a local university. The monster wolves, which are made of metal and covered.
They call them the monster wolves.
Yeah, with a capital M.
That's their official name. Is the monster wolves.
Covered in fake fur and make them appear real to other animals. They're outfitted with motion detectors that cause them to activate. The wolves then flash red lights in their eyes.
Yeah, that's just for the scientists. It's just for them to enjoy.
They're just like, let's make it look cool.
Yeah.
Move their heads back and forth and emit a series of howling and screeching noises. Oh shit.
It's our brownies.
It's my brownies.
I'm gonna go get them.
We'll turn them off and then we'll get to the next story. Sweet. We're making brownies, guys. And I'm gonna put graham cracker on the bottom, and then I'm gonna put marshmallow on top, and then marshmallows will melt in the brownies, and it's gonna be really good. Here, it says here. Here's a quote from. This is the guy. What's his name? Yuichi Ota.
Oh yeah.
Head of the Seki Seki.
Yuichi.
Told Japanese told a Japanese newspaper, the Mancini. That sounds Italian. Okay, whatever. That's bad. We want to let the bears know human settlements aren't where you live.
And help with the coexistence? Wait.
They want to live with these bears peacefully. And now that there's more bears, apparently, they're trying to scare them. City officials said the wolves have thus far been effective in preventing bears from entering the town, as well as any new tourists or residents. It's been scaring off newcomers to the town, too. Which is,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Wolves once lived in wild Japan, but went extinct in the country during the early 20th century. I did not know that.
So they went extinct, and now we got robot wolves.
Yeah.
Gotta replace the extinct creature with the robot version, just like they're planning with the bees.
Pretty soon they're going to do the big dog robots.
Oh no!
You know, outfit those with fur.
Terrifying to me. They're gonna be soldiers. Those things are gonna get guns on them, and it's gonna be all over for us.
It's robotic uprising right there.
That's the authoritarian state that we live in.
Oh boy! So that's the article. That's nice, right? Little quick blurbs, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right.
They've got 3 more down here, and I'm gonna let Grace lead off this next one. But we've got 3 to choose from. Deer crashes through window into Indiana classroom. That seems local. That's cool. Couple tracks down World War II vet's family to return keepsakes. Yeah.
Lame.
Woman, 102, dubbed world's oldest living curling player.
Ooh. I think I gotta go with the curling player.
Yeah, and it seems appropriate too, because last time I talked about the world's oldest disc golf player.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So like you got a little Hubble sport here. So.
Oh, she's cute.
Look at her! She looks so happy.
All right, so a British Columbia woman is now a Guinness World Record holder after being confirmed as the world's oldest living curling player.
Confirmed? What did they have to go and check? All the other curlers?
There could have been some other curlers, but they were not nearly as famous as her.
What if Golden
She's
Girls?
102 years, 37 days. All right. Wow.
Well, they even went to the days.
Yeah, like at the time of this article, like 37 days since it was posted or since they interviewed her. I'm confused. Lola Holmes of Vancouver said she first started curling a stone sliding game played on ice when she was 24 years old. Aw. And she took up the hobby again at 80. Alright, so she's been playing a long ass time. Yeah, that's 20 years, or 22 years since she turned 80. She's been playing curling.
Jesus.
Wow, that's dedication right
She's
there.
got to be good at it. I like shuffleboard, I mean, I play a little bit, but...
Yeah. Holmes said her tenure as a curling player nearly ended when she was diagnosed with carpal tunnel at 83.
Oh my gosh.
No. But she learned a new technique known as stick-assisted curling that allowed her to continue playing the sport. Oh, that's what she's doing in the picture.
That's what she's holding there. See?
Oh my gosh,
okay.
that's so dope. Carpal tunnel representation.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go get that mouse.
Yeah. The mouse. Holmes now plays the lead in curl position with the Vancouver Curling Club. In the Ladies Senior League. Dope. I am in the game of curling to win. I love to win games with other teams. I am equally happy when I lose.
Hello, Nancy.
Equally unhappy. Oh, she loves to
Nancy.
win. She is competitive.
Nancy! Ready to go curling?
Yes, dear.
Do you have your
1
boots?
minute. I don't know where they are.
Don't forget your jacket. It's cold today.
I gotta say a Hail Mary first. Give me a minute.
I was reading today somewhere about the curling world that we may be the oldest people playing curling right now.
Oh, why don't call me old.
No, years young. 117 years young.
So, I mean, that's that. She's pretty dope. And she
What's it say here?
said she hopes her accomplishment will inspire other seniors to remain active in their later years. So, any seniors out there listening, try out curling, man.
This
Even if you got carpal tunnel.
I like that. I'm going to try and keep finding stories about world's oldest people doing stuff. I mean, because, like I said, the Frisbee guy last week was really happy to see that because he's over 100 years old throwing Frisbees.
It's dope.
There's a whole category in Guinness World Records that is the over 100 category. It's legit.
Yeah.
And that's pretty fascinating. It's kind of inspirational, too.
It's cute.
People stay healthy.
So our more related stories here. We got 3 options. First one, bovine escapes cattle trailer after highway sideswipe. All right, chase. Man wins $3.2 million after using same lottery number for 35 years. Well, that's intense.
Yeah.
Bear, another bear story, relocated after repeated snack runs at California store. Pretty dope, Bear. All right, what we gonna do? It's up to you, Dave.
That 35 years guy I've seen every single day. I don't want to look at him anymore.
Yeah, no. He just
what about the
seems
bovine
like a
high-speed
loser.
chase? How about that? Like
Bovine.
the cow's trying to escape.
Oh.
Escapes cattle trailer. Like the cow jumped out.
Yeah, he jumped out when there was a wreck. It seems.
Oh, there's a video. All right, so let's watch the
Cattle
clip.
crash.
I-80.
Well, this afternoon, a head of cattle is corralled after today's accident on I-80 in Rockland. A big rig swiped another carrying the animals. One got loose and took off down the freeway. Animal control helped round it up. The CHP also used a cruiser to keep the other cattle from running off.
So they just parked it in front of it?
Oh man, these poor cows just want to be free.
A bovine.
Free.
They know what's going on.
Yeah.
They're living beings, but man, I'm gonna keep eating steak. I love steak.
I need the iron.
A bovine escaped from a cattle trailer on a California highway when it was sideswiped and ripped open by a second tractor trailer. That probably looked pretty intense. And I mean,
Sounds on purpose.
something that's always kind of blown my mind is how we transport a lot of our livestock.
Yeah.
Like the pigs in the trailers and
Get in.
it's just
Get
a trailer
on in there.
full of like
Wow.
and they're just riding down the road
And-
open to the wind.
So when you're packing a regular truck, you know how you're distributing the weight, and like you can put it in a way where it's going to be stable if it gets
Yeah.
hit. But with animals, they're moving around.
It's
There's no way
constantly
to control
shifting. Yeah.
how the weight, where the center of mass is.
California Highway Patrol said the tractor trailer hauling a load of cattle was sideswiped by another truck. We got that.
On
We
purpose.
got that. They said it twice already. It's 2 paragraphs of the
That's
same
the
thing.
whole story, I think.
It is. It's literally the whole story.
Yeah.
Variously reported as a bull or a cow escaped from the hole
So
in
it's
the trailer.
either a bull or a cow. The 2 options here,
Yeah.
which are the 2 options, but it could be for a cattle.
No injuries were reported from the crash, but the roadway was partially closed while authorities worked to clean up from the crash and search for the missing bovine. Jace.
Let him free. Let my man free. He did nothing wrong.
So here we go again. We got 6 Swan takes a subway ride to Wildlife Center in New York. Okay. Egyptian scuba diver stays underwater for 145 hours. Cool. School asks parents to stop throwing late students over closed gate.
Okay, we gotta do that.
What?
What are they doing?
What?
They put a gate up when they're like late? What? Alright, I'll read this one.
Yeah, you gotta read. It's in France. It's in
So-
France.
Huh.
Gotta do it with a French accent now. Oh.
Hopefully, an elementary school in France.
You turning British.
Paris put up a pair of posters outside the fence.
No Scottish.
What a usual request for parents.
It's not Scottish. That's like pirate there.
Don't throw late students over the close the gate.
Oh my gosh! Seriously, the Trilde School in Avignon
Avignon.
put up signs outside its gate showing a cartoon of a parent sending a small
Oh my
child.
God. What? Is that the picture that it had earlier?
Yeah.
Maybe. The text on the sign asked parents not to throw their children and said wait for the gates to be opened at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. What the fuck?
Why are they getting rid of their kids?
It says that parents literally threw their children, in quotation marks, over the gate when they arrived to find it closed. Well, maybe if there weren't so many punishments for being late to class, we wouldn't have to throw our children over the gate to get them into school on time. I remember being late for our school. Some days it was better just to skip class. You would get less punishment for skipping class than for being 2 minutes late to a class.
Yeah.
There are many days where I just would drive in my car to Burger King because I was like, oh, I'm 2 minutes late. Better to be 60 minutes late and skip first period.
It's weird now with all the COVID stuff.
Oh,
Like, honestly,
yeah.
I don't even want to think about the school networks with everything that's changed.
No. Shout out to all the little peeps out there. All the kids in Y2K to 12 and whatever.
Yeah, what? Not our Zoomers. What would that generation call?
They're still Zoomers. The high schoolers are Zoomers. The younger ones are different. They haven't been named yet, I don't think.
They haven't made a name for themselves.
But the high schoolers out there, it's probably sucks. I mean, high school just in general sucks. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Get used to it,
My
man.
apologies. No, just my apologies. It gets better. Soon you'll have your own shitty apartment filled with mice.
Yeah, filled with mice and rats and bats. And
and cats.
you gotta have fun occupying your time that way.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got time for one more?
Yeah, why not? Let's do one more. Because those brownies are starting to smell really good. What's that there?
World's fastest bourbon to take flight in a Harrier jet during aging. I don't know that. Oh, I like jets.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go.
I like drinking. I like beer.
Mm-hmm. You want to read this one?
You keep going. Hit the video. Let's see what this guy does.
Now a couple of vets on a wild mission. They've got a high flyer and barrels of aged cargo on a special operation that'll hit 700 miles an hour. It's one of the
Look
most
at the rock music and the
fighter
flames
jets ever built, capable of taking off and landing vertically,
Oh yeah, they
hovering
spent
like
way
a
too much
helicopter.
money on the production of
And
this
it
plane.
packs serious power.
It's not
Top
worth
speed, more than 700 miles an hour. It's a Sea Harrier jet, formerly part of the British Royal Navy. The pilot doing the barrel rolls, he's a U.S. Marine.
In its normal mission of fighter reconnaissance or strike to carry
His
missiles,
name's
to carry bombs,
Arthur
or to
Art
carry fuel.
Knowles.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Art Knowles says the jet's always been one of his favorites. So much so that he pulled the trigger.
I'd take it.
And bought one.
This actually belongs to myself and my wife. My wife owns half of it, so she's very quick to point that out.
This is a man's
You know he never lets her fly it.
But his next mission, instead of guns, the fighter jet's carrying, well, I'll let the colonel explain.
We're going to put 2 external fuel tanks on this airplane, one on each side, that have been specially modified to carry 3 oak barrels with bourbon.
What? Yeah, bourbon, the boozy mission,
putting it
the
outside the
brainchild
plane?
of Colonel Knowles and another vet.
Oh my God, it's gonna drop. Wouldn't that be amazing?
He owns a Harrier jet, and I own a distillery. I mean,
Catch on fire.
These are the guys' 2 best friends.
A few miles from the airstrip is this corn farm. It's where retired Navy Rear Admiral Scott Sanders turns the crop into spirits. He's got barrels and barrels of it, even storing some below deck on the USS Constellation in Baltimore Harbor.
What?
The rum aging on board this 166-year-old warship got the vets thinking.
I said, hey, we ought to age
just
some
aging
here
it in different
the
places,
Harrier.
not
Let's
even
put some
aging a different
the,
process.
Drop tanks, and let's go 700 miles an hour and see how the pressure affects the
I'm done with this man. Dude, what the fuck?
Oh, the pressure affects
How the
it.
pressure affects it. Dude, it's gonna mess up your very delicately crafted airplane and the balance and the center of pressure. You're talking about pressure. You gotta
Did they
be
fly?
careful.
Did he crash?
Man. The test liquor, blah blah blah, 75 miles per hour or 700 miles per hour. Here's his quote. I said, "Hey, we
You gotta say it like him. Like,
yeah.
Hey, we all want to get some air in the area. Let's put some of the drop tanks and go at 700 miles an hour and see if the pressure affects it. Take the bourbon and go." That's what Knowles. His name's Knowles. Arthur Knowles.
What it's gonna taste like? Jet fuel.
But they put it in the wrong tanks.
Yeah.
They like put bourbon in the fuel tank
It, like, right
and
behind
jet
the
fuel in the
exhaust.
barrels.
It's gonna get all the exhaust on it.
They're like, it tastes a
They're
little different.
Well, this tastes funny.
Yeah, just
Wow. Okay.
the world's
so,
fastest bourbon.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna brand it and sell
scheduled
it.
to take flight in October, but the plans were delayed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they now say they have set their sights on April. So we'll see. Keep your eyes open for April. They plan to sell each bottle of 700 miles per hour bourbon for about $145 a bottle, with a portion of proceeds going to Semper Fi, America's Fund.
Hoorah! I don't know what they say.
It helps wounded and ill service members and their families. Yeah, dope, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, I guess, I don't know, old retirees spending all that money buying a jet.
Before I turn 30, I want to have my pilot's license, and then before I turn 40, I want to buy a plane. That's on my bucket list here.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I like my dick man, it is plenty. My dick man is nice. La 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 la.
Well, that was a fun show, wasn't it? I think that was a really fun show.
Really fun show.
I'm glad we have our guest here today, Grape.
It was wonderful to join you, Soccer Mom.
Fantastic. Make sure you like and subscribe to our videos and channel. Email us.
Email.
Electronic letters to soccermom.
Electronics.
Make sure you email us at the address soccermom6969 424 real. The number 4 as in for real at hotmail.com. We look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Keep it sleazy.
Keep it sleazy. Take it sleazy.
Let it squeezy.
Sleazy.